This week on the Unamplified Podcast.
Welcome to another episode of the Unamplified Podcast. My name is Cynthia Mbamalu, your host, and today we especially greet you in beautiful Nigerian languages. To my people from the Igbo land, yes, so to my Yoruba brothers and sisters, Ekabo, Ekushe. To my Hausa people, Bakamu. I hope I'm pronouncing it well. Senu is one I know, but Bakamu. And to my Igede people, Igede Yo. All the way to Plateau State, my people from Mangu, Magavu, we say Are. And we'll go down to South, Urobo Wado. And now back to the studio, my amazing team of co-hosts.
Hi everyone, of course I'm Chi. Welcome to today's episode. I'm the cool one, of course, don't forget.
Yeah.
Hi everyone, I'm Queen CY, always coming with the vibe. Welcome to the Unamplified Podcast.
Yeah, and we have two people from behind the scene joining us today.
We are honored to have them.
Yeah.
The almighty Hamilton Adams.
Thank you.
Starboy, it's good to have you on the show.
My pleasure.
The pleasure.
Yeah, and we have Ayo, welcome back. This is your second time on the show, yeah? Welcome back.
Yeah, I'm glad to be back.
We're happy to have you
here. Yeah, and today we're discussing movies in Africa. And maybe not just movies in Africa, but movies directed by Black people, because we're also celebrating our Black culture. And we'll be talking, before we get into the movies, we're talking about movies that has stayed with us for a long period of time and not necessarily Africa now, right? I remember I was discussing with you, Chi, a while back about Northern Hill and my love for the movie.
I love the movie so much. Of course, it's starring Julia Roberts, and I'll watch anything that has Julia Roberts. Yeah, starting from Pretty Woman. I mean, these are classics. So for Notting Hill, when you posted something like that and we started talking about it, I remember this popular line that came from the movie. I'm just a girl standing in front of a boy, asking him to love her.
Yes, right? In fact, I used that line one time. Don't ask me. I'm just a girl.
Did a preacher of love
in front of a boy, asking him to love. If it's you, you know who I'm talking to. Yeah, but that don't mind me. I'm just joking. I'm not talking to anybody. Just from the movie. But it's one of those movies that has stayed with us. Yeah. And we were talking the other day where Ayo and I we were just reminiscing on our love for This Is Us. The show, This Is Us will make you cry. Episode back to back, you're crying. It's not necessarily sad, but even the happy moments are like, oh,
I really need to get into
I think This Is Us might be the most emotional show ever made in the whole world.
And not emotional in a sad way. Just
it's
in
like
a very
it can
good
be
way.
in a sad way, but most of the scenes are just happy. It's like just this family that just loves each other so much, and you just can't help but cry.
Think I'll
you have to cry.
This.
Yeah.
Is it a series? Is it a series?
Yeah, it tells a beautiful story because it's a family. I mean, white family, but they have triplets. Just that the third of the triplets is a black child.
So they adopted him.
She was expecting a triplet, and then one of them died, and then there was this black kid that was abandoned, and then they adopted and they raised them together.
And he was also like born on the same day as the triplets.
Yes. So it tells an interesting story, but it's just I think for me the story of fatherhood, the story of family, the story of diversity, understanding the difference between raising a black kid and raising a white kid, especially with the context in the US. But we're talking about movies, and I'm like, we have really great amazing stories in Africa, right?
Yes.
Nollywood, oh my gosh. Nollywood has evolved over a long period of time.
Amazingly.
And Hamilton, tell us, because I know you are into movies.
Yeah, I am into movies. So I can really give you this assurance that Nollywood has really transitioned from when we used to use the VHR, the winder and all the stuff, and now we're doing cinema movies, Netflix, Prime, different, streaming platforms. And the production right now is a little bit, up to standard. Then we had just few low black and white qualities and stuff
not
like
just
that.
Black and white. I think it's also about equipment, because
the equipment
it was really
isn't
underfunded at the point.
Yes. They had issues of funding back then. Even till now, they still have issues of funding.
Yes. And the beauty for me is that our industry has evolved, because even the quality of our production, the stories that are told, they've also become very, very, very interesting. And just thinking about it, I was wondering, as growing up, what was that movie or what were those movies that stood out for you?
Well, okay, then I think Ijele. Who
Ijele?
can remember Ijele?
Yeah, I remember
Full
Ijele.
Moon.
Full Moon,
Regina
when the
Askia,
moon comes out, the girl will have power.
Almost.
Yeah.
That movie, I couldn't sleep for days. And Karashika.
Gosh.
That movie
So
was
now
something
How
else.
to do horror movies.
I like horror
Living in
movies too.
bondage.
Oh,
This
Living in
suspense.
Bondage,
Yeah.
yes.
On
Neka the
Nigerian-
Pretty Serpent.
Yeah, Neka the Pretty Saki.
Nollywood made me scared of cats because you know.
Neka the Pretty Serpent is not the name of the movie. Is it not Rattlesnake?
No.
No, there's
Neka the
Rattlesnake
Pretty
and then
Serpent,
there's
yeah.
Neka
Neka the Pretty Serpent was
It's the
different.
name of a movie. Neka the
Yes.
Pretty Serpent. Oh wow.
Billionaires Club as
There was
well.
that one after
Billionaires
school,
Club,
after
yeah.
school hours. The girls turned to cat.
Yes.
But yeah, which other movie? Which?
For me, Billionaires Club, the one Peter Doce, Kanayo. For Hollywood as well. Then for Hollywood, I really loved Home Alone
And our Christmas movie.
Drunken
Yeah.
Master.
Nice.
Do you guys remember the movie Drunken
Jet Li?
Master?
Or
I
no.
can't remember his name. Honestly,
Jackie
but-
Chan. I think it's Jackie Chan. Yeah.
And Jet Li.
Yeah, so all those movies, really amazing movies.
Which
Yeah.
movies come to mind?
I watched a lot of Nollywood movies growing up, but the one that stood out for me was the one Hollywood movie that I saw, Sista Act. I don't know who was that
my
Sister
God.
Act.
It's a musical.
Yeah, it was a
Oh my
musical.
God.
And
I've
then
not seen
Whoopi
that.
Goldberg, right? It's amazing.
Lauren
You should
Hill was
watch
in
it. And
too.
Lauren Hill,
And
yeah.
1 and 2, amazing.
I think they has a 3 too.
You did? I just watched 1 and 2.
So one,
Yeah.
So I loved the movie, and I've been trying to get back into it because I really love Whoopi Goldberg.
Yeah.
and
I
the
think-
movie was amazing.
I
Yes.
think for me, for Hollywood, I'll go for Salt
Ah.
by Angelina
Salt.
Jolie.
Yeah.
Wanted. And also this movie that her and her husband, they were
Mr. and Mrs.
Mr. and Mrs. Smith.
Nice.
That was. Let's not get into this story. Around Mrs. Smith. Ayo, which one?
Well, so I grew up watching Disney.
Cool. This is cool.
The things that are coming to mind now are things like High School Musical.
Ice cream is.
But
We
also,
all in this
if we're talking
together.
about
I love Disney too.
movies in like a classic sense, I think I'll talk about The Notebook.
The Notebook.
Also, this
Nicholas
movie
Sparks.
Obsessed that Beyonce was
Was
in.
in, yeah.
And Idris Elba.
And Idris Elba,
And
yes.
Elba.
Yeah. Oh no, the Notebook is one of that all-time love story.
Yeah.
I still
Sometimes
watch
I think
it.
if you ask my laptop, they'll think The Notebook is my favorite movie ever because I don't like when my
Kept on
laptop
watching
goes off.
Yeah.
So when I don't want it to go off, I'll just start playing The Notebook, and sometimes you just be playing in the background. So
Wow.
if you go to my quick access, you just see The Notebook.
For me, I think Sound of Music.
Wow.
I love that.
Nice, Maria.
I love that movie.
Then of course I was a Genevieve fan, so any movie with Genevieve,
My
Nnaji,
crush.
I was watching.
My crush.
I think back then,
if I see Genevieve, I'm watching Omotala. You know, then there are people you just watch them.
Yes.
Omotala, then there was them
Rita
Stella,
Downey.
I think
Stella
the
Damasus.
movie, if you're
you know.
going to borrow movies, then you'll be checking the actors
The
and actors. You have
pictures,
to check the
Yes.
pictures.
I think then the movies were also telling not just societal stories, but also trying to tell, promote morals in a
Yeah.
way,
Yes.
and talk about when you do good, you get good. When
Good.
you do
When you
bad,
do bad,
you
you
pay
get
for
bad,
it.
yeah.
Accountability. If you're a horrible leader, something will happen. You lose your position, and then you'll be nobody.
And a better person will take over.
Yes. And the industry has evolved, and we are seeing new faces. You say new cat. I want to say
New cast.
new faces. What are those movies that have been trending in the past year? Let me not say like past week. In the past year,
Well, we have a movie like Battle on Booker Streets. We have by Funke Akindele. I think she produced and directed the movie as well. And then we also have King of Boys by Kemi Adetiba.
my Toyin Tomato was there.
She's good. I mean, she has produced a couple of movies like The Wedding Party.
Yeah, the wedding party.
And some other movies that she has actually produced. And we have Jide as well, who the lady who produced Gangs of Lagos.
Yeah.
These are awesome movies that you can actually, like, it's really showing the quality, the storyline, and everything good that
and the
Nollywood has to
acting.
offer.
Yeah,
The
the
acting.
acting.
We've also seen a lot of, because when I talk about celebrating Nollywood from where we came from, when we had little, when I say we now, the entertainment industry had little, they were putting in their best. We had these guys we've mentioned and lot more, because this list is not exhaustive. They were putting in their best with very little. Now at least there's some level of diversity and even increase in funding. So we're even seeing that we're doing a lot more. So it shows that when you have better funding, better resources, we tell better stories, quality would be top notch, and we can compete in the global space. So which other movies have been trending?
Omogeto the Saga.
Omogeto.
Funke Akindele
has really been trying.
Nice movies back to back.
She's good. She's talented. Which other show has been trending?
Shantytown, which was produced by Iniedo.
And Blood Sisters.
I watched Blood Sisters all night. Honestly, I started watching Blood Sisters in the Friday evening. I did not sleep that Saturday. The story kept me. I was impressed.
It was very interesting.
I was impressed.
I also liked, I don't know who has seen Oloture.
Oloture.
Yeah. And it told a very beautiful story. I can't remember who
I think
was.
It was Momoh.
More.
Yeah, it's more. Yeah.
It's fantastic, and I think we should have more movies that tell our African stories, or stories that are peculiar to women, girls, disability rights, and all those things. I love Oloture for that.
I love the originality in the movie, that Oloture, and the storyline, the actors. I mean, there's a lot of stereotype when you play such, roles in movies, and the girls who actually played that role, I mean, they gave it all their all, and they were all good at what they were doing, and which is what I loved about the movie.
You can tell this is a true story. This is someone's reality. Because when you talk about the dangers of trafficking, human trafficking is still a thing in our society, and a lot of people still do not have enough information to protect themselves from being trafficked. So almost every day, there are still citizens who are trafficked, who are subjected to the most inhumane conditions, and whose rights are stripped from them. Their basic human dignity is taken away. It's not a fairy tale.
It's not.
This is someone's reality.
It's not. And you can actually see yourself in the girl. I mean, it's just you.
Like it could be you.
It could
be your loved
Carrie.
one. It could be someone you know.
True.
You understand?
And just the innocence. They didn't even know that was what they were taking them for.
A lot of traffic victims don't even know that that's their reality.
All in the name of they want to japa.
Yeah, and so just thinking around the movies that are trending and what are the conversations we have in our movies. I need to talk about Sista because it's still trending on Prime. I think it's still trending. I think I'm on the top 10 Nigerian movies on Prime.
It is.
Who has seen Sista?
We've all seen it.
You've all seen Sista? Now let us gist.
Hamilton or dance.
Why are you calling Hamilton? This is not an all men are scum.
Of course, no, of course not. Of course not.
Because we know that we have scummish people in male and female gender. But let's talk about Sista.
In that movie, I get to understand that there are different ways a man and a woman takes pressure. In that movie, they both had unprotected sex and she got pregnant. Yeah. And
you have to really call it unprotected sex.
Yeah, now that's the only reason. She's pregnant.
That's the only way she can get pregnant. And she got pregnant and she was trying to manage her own pressure, trying to find ways how they would get money and everything. And it was schooling. She dropped out of school.
Yes.
She practically helped him graduate and did everything. Still, Oga left her.
No, you're forgetting the part where she got pregnant again.
She got pregnant again, and he could not handle the pressure for the second time. Oga left.
and 20 or more years later.
One letter.
Actually.
20 years later, coming back. The fact that he came back and he did not still know how to handle the situation.
Exactly. After 20 years, he still did not repent.
Not all men.
No.
Some men. Most men can be selfish.
That's where I want to come in right now because
yes.
So I saw the movie as well, and it's a good movie, good story writing, and
hello Biodun Stephen.
Yeah, the quality of the movie. And there's one thing I noticed about the movie: the color pattern.
Oh yes,
they carefully selected the clothing down to the
orange
clothing, orange and blue.
Orange
so
and blue.
it was a very nice movie. Yeah, so the guy's character, to me, yes, obviously he messed up.
I'm looking at you with bombastic side eye.
No, I'm not agreeing with you, but I'm just saying, yes, he messed up.
Okay.
But I'm also trying to say that not all men are like that.
Of course, the conversation is not that all men are like that.
The man, that's man.
Women too, they do the same thing as well.
a lesser percentage.
It goes
Lesser percentage.
A lesser
between
percentage.
both genders. It's not just only
No, true.
guys.
I agree with you.
No, but
Women do the
this
same thing as
no,
well.
but your defense right now is exactly the kind of defense everybody has when it comes to battle of the sexes or whatever. The conversation is this character in Sista, good or bad?
Exactly.
Bad.
It's a bad character. I agree with you.
So there's no reason to bring up the fact that women
also
are like
do
that,
it.
or that everybody
Why?
is not like
But
that,
it's
or
okay
that.
for you to say that men are
Yeah.
like that.
No,
we said the
the
man.
man is like that.
We both saw this movie together.
Yes, we
and
did.
obviously we did
Yeah.
not agree on certain things.
Yeah, we did.
And I was also trying to make you understand that men they do this stuff,
Of course.
and women
Some
do it
men
as well.
don't.
Some
We
men.
also know. We also while we were also watching it, I remember telling you. So you said, "Why are we dragging this man?" I said, "Because we are watching it." He said, "Women also do it." I said, "Okay, shoot a movie where a woman did it, and we'll also drag the woman." I mean, it's all about context. If the context is a man who did it, we are dragging the man.
And I agreed with you that
Yeah.
what the guy did was messed up.
Sure, but
I never supported whatever he did.
So can we just
Let's
focus
not
on the
forget-
guys mess up?
Yes, focus on the guy's mess
so
up.
can we-
But
This
on
feels like
on
a
mess up.
No.
I feel like a therapy.
No,
So
let
how
me
does that make you feel?
let me make a point. Let me make a
how does
point.
that make you feel?
So when seeing the movie,
Yeah.
I understood that yes, the guy really messed up. But on the other hand, he was young and confused.
Wait,
and that's the truth.
But
he
he's
wasn't.
making
He
a
wasn't.
point.
He wasn't
He's
ready.
making a
He
point.
wasn't
He was
ready
young.
for the responsibilities. Obviously, but it doesn't mean nobody asked you to do what you did with the girl and stuff
Okay.
like that.
Yeah.
But on the other hand, I just want you guys to understand the circumstances around this situation.
Which is that he was young.
No, no.
He was young and
Okay.
he didn't
I
have
want to
money.
ask Ayo.
He didn't have money. He
Thank
didn't have
God you
anything.
also watched this movie.
I'm sorry, but this he was young argument. He was 21.
Yeah.
He's an adult.
He was older
There
than
are
the
people
girl.
who are 21 who
older.
at that point they've still not
He
got
was
their life
older
together.
than the girl
his
in
life is not
question.
together does not mean that we understand his life not together. But in the movie, he said he was young like almost 20 times. He kept saying, "I was young." That's
And
not an
that's
excuse.
the problem
So
because
he-
she was
it's
also
not an
young.
excuse.
I was just
She was
seeing
younger.
from-
He was 3 years younger.
I am
and
see,
older
I
than
see
her.
I see things from both sides. Like I will keep saying it. The guy's
Okay, so about the
attitude
woman
and
now,
behavior
what do you think about the
was
lady?
wrong. It's totally bad. I don't agree
Now,
with what he did.
And what do you think about the lady?
Yeah, I feel like what she did in the movie was very awesome. She took the responsibility of the guy, taking care of the kids till they grew up and stuff like that. It was a very good thing to do. But I feel if you were not prepared to become a mother at that young age, I am just making a point.
You're only making excuses.
If you are not prepared,
If
you are not
if you're
prepared.
not
Point,
prepared
please.
to be a mother at that
Yes.
young age, there are different ways to prevent that from happening. Do you understand?
well,
and
no,
and
see,
that's the reason
no.
why I feel like what the point I was making is that the guy was wrong.
The conversation
And at
came
the
up.
same time,
the conversation came
he
up in
was-
the movie.
Yeah.
It's not that they did not take appropriate preventive methods,
Yeah.
but they said they took it and then it was not 100%. That's why they are in this
Exactly, it didn't
situation. Now, what's the solution? What's the way forward?
So if he's a responsible guy,
Yeah.
he would take responsibility for his
So
actions.
he's not responsible, but
He wasn't.
that's the takeaway. He's not
the thing
responsible.
was-
But on the other hand,
Yeah.
in as much as he wasn't ready for the whole thing.
So what could he have done
ready.
differently?
No, so this
So
is the
I feel like
he's
what
rationalizing you're trying to rationalize
yeah
the guy's circumstance at that age.
yes
Which is also a point of view, because the truth is, for every story there are different points of views and different perspectives. And you wanted to say something.
Okay, so the him being young thing, I will accept it can be an excuse. But the one thing about him that made him even more trifling is that immediately he went to NYSC, he found someone immediately. As if the person that he had 2 children with meant nothing. That he left for camp that day. Is camp not 20 days, I be 30 days, and he found somebody else, and now they have been married for 20 years. That's disrespectful.
And
That's pure scum behavior.
How
Disrespectful.
hard it is. You know, this forgiveness thing that we are talking about, forgiveness. It
I'm
sounds
glad
easy.
you see. Thank you for
In
bringing
this-
forgiveness.
In this movie, if that kind of thing should have happened, God forbid, do you think I'll forgive?
And honestly,
This is
and
not
then
funny.
moving
down.
then moving forward, it's a whole conversation of whether he was young or not. Now, when he got older, he's almost 50,
He
and
did
he has
search
come
for
back
them.
to their lives. He even did worse.
Exactly.
Are you going to say that he was young too?
I will keep saying whatever he did in the movie or the character he portrayed in the movie was wrong. Yeah, but I can understand. Like, the point you're trying to make is that, you know, when he finally came back and Sista recognized him at the party and stuff like that, and then he realized that, oh, these are my kids, and started buying them expensive gifts and stuff like that, wanting to even take them abroad. I feel he shouldn't have done that.
Shouldn't.
At least, yeah, he shouldn't do that now. He should at least speak with the mother, make peace with the mother before, and because I mean, you left them for years.
So he tried
And
to
all
make
of a
peace with the
sudden-
mother, and she wasn't having it. And he went ahead and started doing what he was doing. Do you justify that
a
one?
very responsible guy would keep trying.
Well, so now,
We'll
because
keep trying.
we are going to move straight from Sista to talk about several other conversations in this. But this tells us the beauty of a good story.
Yeah.
Because see how
Actually,
and
yes.
this is everyone different perspectives, and we're debating it. It tells us that one, that was a good story. The acting was good.
Yes.
And the way the character portrayal, I think was perfect. Every character brought to
Yeah,
their
Bisola
best.
was very
Yeah.
good. Bisola, Deyemi as well.
Yeah.
He did a good job.
I have this opinion that stories are meant to awaken something. Stories are meant to be controversial because
Yes.
human beings are not black and white.
True.
Human beings have different sides to them. Everything is not black and white. So I think it was Chimamanda that said in response to a question about one of our stories that when it comes to human nature, there is no saint. So people have all these different sides to them. And I believe that when I see a story or when I watch a movie or read a book, I think the fact that my spirit or my conscience or any other person around me has to debate these different sides of the character makes me believe that that's a good story because it portrays real human feelings, real human emotions.
So to me, I also think that the movie portrays the power in women.
Yes.
You can see how even when she was pregnant, how she pushed to open her businesses, doing menial jobs just to feed and take care of her children. She didn't even depend on anybody. She just focused on her work and kept
gave her
pushing.
children a good life.
Yeah.
So it just shows that women we are more powerful than we think.
Yes.
And also, I would like to chip in as well. I appreciate the women. I mean, I love women a lot.
We appreciate you
Beautiful
too.
women
No, we
around
know
me.
we know you are not among
I
them.
appreciate Star Boy.
Yeah.
When we were talking, something came up. Communication, importance of communication, and how we communicate. Forgiveness came up. But motherhood, fatherhood, and solidarity. Those some way stood out from the movie. And how do I look at all these points? Solidarity, because if you look at the story, he came back with his wife. She immediately understood the pain of her fellow woman.
Exactly, that's solidarity.
See, that I think the wife has the character that was
Bisola.
amazing. That was just. It was not about I'm angry and blaming you.
Yeah.
It's like this is the situation we're in. How do we solve this situation? There are kids involved. There's a woman whose heart was broken and a woman who is trying to heal. And you can't go about. When she asked him, you didn't even ask me how I feel. You just expected me to take
And
on
he
the
said he
conversation,
thought he was
right?
okay with that.
So
How?
I love the fact that she didn't go. The story did not project that stereotypical thing about women hating women.
Yeah.
And women, and because I hate that
That was
stereotype.
like the old Nollywood
That is
movie.
yes. That I don't like that stereotype because the truth is the way men fight with men is the way women fight with women. There are men that fight with men, there are women that fight with women. It's not a women thing. It's not gendered, right? It's a human thing. And the story did not go with that stereotype. It showed one, Sista was supported by her friend who used to give her jobs, the cleaning jobs.
Yeah.
Even when one lady tried to accuse her, the friend still believed in her. So there was that friendship from her friend. Then this wife saw this sister, respected Sista, and when she knew the story, tried to make amends. And because of her husband realized the fault or the flaws in his ways, because she brought him back to reality. And that was when he knew, okay, I need to go and really apologize to this woman. So I like that story of solidarity, and that's what we need to start learning, that as a people, we need to support each other more. If you understand people's challenges, people's differences, people's weaknesses, we need to learn to understand rather than adding, what do you say, when you add fire to a situation, we try to look for how to manage that. That's one. The issue around forgiveness is deep. And forgiveness is not easy. You know, you say forgive and forget. That is the most difficult thing ever. Right? So communication for me is key, and I learned it from there. Because even the wife telling the husband, hey, you didn't even ask me how I feel. This is how I feel. And then him now explaining and apologizing. We need to talk to each other better. So as I said, I learned a lot from that movie. You don't even understand. Forgiveness is hard, but forgiving is for ourselves too. Communication is key. But please, men, women, we have to start learning to talk to each other, understand each other better. As we talk about the beauty of the industry, talk about how it has evolved over time, there is a conversation around what are those issues that have not been amplified. Because, you know, when you're on, you're amplified. And when it's on, it's amplified. So, colorism, for instance, because you notice around skin color has been, I remember I was reading one time, I can't remember who was shouting out to all the ladies in the industry that were not pushed to change the color of their skin. So I think it was Drexx, she was calling names like Kate Henshaw, Genevieve, you know, talking about the darker skinned actor, Uche Jumbo, ladies, Iniedo, beautiful black melanin popping skin. But it also got me thinking around issues around colorism. I know we had a chat around that.
Yeah, so colorism is something that is ingrained in the Nigerian society as a whole. So you see, like when you were growing up, I don't know if you had aunties or family friends that would tell you, oh yeah, you're dark now, as if being dark, as if being black or being dark is a bad thing, it makes you ugly or something like that. It's just something that is not their fault, but this is how they were raised, this is what they think is right.
True.
And I also remember then, if a guy wants to marry, say he wants to marry a tough, fair,
slim girl.
It has to be fair. They have to highlight that.
But
part.
funny enough, the irony is that when it comes to women, the spec is tall, dark, and handsome.
Interesting.
I'm like, so are we
But the
giving
thing is
birth
that
to
when
women
they
all
say
fair?
tall, dark, and handsome, they actually don't mean dark. Because a lot of white people also say tall, dark, and handsome. What they mean is the person has dark hair and he's very mysterious. When they say tall, dark, and handsome, they don't really mean dark skin.
But you know, you're making a point around skin.
Yeah, we know.
Oh, no. You have I told you that one time I told you that your skin is beautiful.
Oh.
It glows. He's got a popping dark skin. And you know the beauty of this is dark skin. Does they say black don't crack?
Yeah.
Literally.
Yes.
Darker skin people, we don't say we. I'm not part of it. Don't age as fast as lighter skin.
I don't do much.
If you think about it now, I mean, that's why if you think about like people like Kate Henshaw, they will still look young forever. Think around Black Hollywood. You see a lot of them. My girl, Gabrielle Union. She's in her 50s. You think about Angela Bassett. You know, our Angelique.
Angelique.
Yeah, think about it. So, and black skin is beautiful and ought to be celebrated. And that is why, for me, colorism is something we need to start talking about in the industry.
Yeah, because as it is already ingrained in our society, it has bled into other industries, especially the entertainment industry. So for like ads and things like that, before they used to be calling for ads things for people that are light skinned because they feel like people prefer light skinned people, like people think light skinned people are finer. And you know, for shows and stuff like that, movies and stuff, they usually do this thing where like they don't no shade to anybody, but they don't like cast people based on talent or anything like that. It's just that, is this person fine? Would they sell the movie? And then to them, the people that are fine are light skinned people.
I actually know of a restaurant one time that the manager of the restaurant, if he's selecting the sales girls, they call them frontline girls. So if anytime is to employ any sales girl or whatever, you have to be fair. It was a criteria for them then, and you have to have a big side,
so I think that was just, for me, this was discriminatory, and it is still discriminatory. I know I was reading an interview one time, I don't want to call the name of it, and they talked about things around, did they tell you the production, they'll be like, they'll need, with your skin, they need different kind of lighting because they need to do this, and it costs a lot more to cast a darker skinned person than a lighter skinned person. And I just felt it didn't make sense because this is Africa, right? People of African descent are dark-skinned people, and we should celebrate our color. We shouldn't be within our continent and still have to experience things around our color, because this is when we should showcase our color. And
expanding on this, there was one time we're having a conversation about how the history of Hollywood had black actors and actresses were not being cast until
yes.
Tyler Perry started his studio and started all these movies and was casting much more black talents, which is why he's respected till today. And I think that's
but even
amazing.
True, because Hollywood was
question.
quite. Till date, the kind of roles the roles to black actors,
Stereotypic.
the wardrobe, the makeup, and everything. It was not done in a way to cater to even the black and then they prefer to cast lighter shades of dark blacks, right?
This colorism in movies and
in
and
industry,
in the industry. How did it? What happened? Like, how did it come to people's mind? How did it start?
It started with colonization.
True.
Okay.
When the colonial masters, they used to, like, those days, the darker colored slaves, they would walk outside in the fields and stuff, and then the lighter skinned ones would be allowed to stay in the house and do the less tasking jobs. So I think this thing just became ingrained in us that light skinned people are better, light skinned people are more, we should favor them more.
You talked about the connecting to our history of colonialism, right? And that is because the whites came, and then that thing of favoring lighter skinned because they felt people should look closer to their skin color. For some reason, it has carried on into our society generations after, and we need to start addressing that, because in the entertainment industry, we shouldn't have darker skinned actors who are beautifully talented being discriminated against that. The other thing we talk about was size, because we also see issues around size. My own worry is a lot of times, a lot of pressure put to look a particular kind of way. At one point, it needs to be skinny. Now it's like you have to have this figure 8 thing.
Yeah,
you needed to have a kind of
shape.
And then plus size actors who are talented are giving crappy roles. Maybe not a crappy
comedy.
So every role is important, but they are giving roles that sometimes they could do better. It's not bringing out the best of their talent.
And the thing is that most of these producers and stuff, I feel like they don't even know that they are doing it.
Subconscious.
Like, is this thing called tokenism. So it's like when you do something just for the sake of not being criticized, or to say that everyone
was represented.
Being represented. So they will give fat people or plus size people, but the title of the character is the token fat friend. So it's that person that is just there in the movie to be funny. They don't have storyline, they don't have plot development, they don't have anything. Or dark skinned people, they are just there in the movie just so that they will say there's a dark skin person there, and their struggle is just that they are dark skin. There is nothing else about them, nothing
it's
about
always
their
the
character.
Black friend.
So I feel like when it comes to the whole body type, stuff, before you can allow them to come on your set and show their talents, a lot of plus size people are very talented and they're good actors. It's crazy when all the time the roles you give them is always about being funny, comedy. It doesn't have to be about that.
Or
there are people who are very good actors. They are on the plus size, and that's one thing I've actually I like about Hollywood. In Hollywood, there are Hollywood movies you will see that are actually dedicated to people who are on the plus size. Do you understand?
But even that, I feel for me, it's not dedicating it, because I'm not a fan. I think Hollywood is the reason they started it and we're learning.
But when I say dedicated,
integrate plus size people in the mainstream movies.
Like, let everything just be normal.
Have a main character in a normal movie that's block,
and let their story not just be about how they are struggling with their weight. Let them live their lives.
Anytime you see a plus size person being the main character, it's either the person is the one producing the movie.
True.
Yes.
And the thing there is that sometimes some of them actually are discouraged about coming out to even for auditions. Because when you go to auditions and the people or the judges there, they're already looking at you and like, I beg, we want someone, built.
Plus they have the picture on their
head. Have that picture. Do you understand? So that kills your talent, it kills everything. It kills.
I think that goes for the writing itself, because the writers themselves have to write a main character who is on the plus size. Example, if you write a story where the main character is this skinny person that did this and did that, I mean, I'll understand if there's an audition and a plus size person comes to audition. You can just say you don't really fit into this role, but it's up to the writers to start writing more stories and start telling more stories about plus size people. and not telling those stories in such a way that they are battling with their size or anything.
True.
It's just they are just normal people living their lives.
No, that's amazing, because we need. I mean, this conversation cannot end. We cannot conclude this conversation on one episode, because there's a lot more we need to unbundle and amplify those issues, because these are issues that we don't really talk about, especially for the young talent coming in who may not have the thick skin of the veterans in the field. How do they also understand? How do we get producers, directors who are very inclusive and diverse in how they cast people, the stories they tell, and how they give opportunities to talent, regardless of the color of your skin, regardless of your size, or regardless of your social status? Because I think that way we're giving the best of the best the opportunities to showcase themselves and telling our stories in a better way. And just to bring it down, because we're going to do some shout out to the movies produced by, I'll say, blacks in Hollywood, because we're here to celebrate black culture. When I say black is king, it's this actually time to promote ourselves, our color, our people of African descent. And I was thinking of people like Shonda Rhimes, for instance.
Oh, amazing Shonda Rhimes.
Because I enjoy, I watch a lot of things
murder.
with Shonda Rhimes. I'm in for it, right? But beyond that, you talked about Tyler Perry. He's actually been very, he's been in the system for a long while, and we have debates around some of his stories, because we'll get into some of the stories. We have people like them, Will Smith and the host of Wonders, who had to go in to start producing and directing. Because if you're not casting us, we start to make our movies.
Exactly.
And I love that resilience, and that's the resilience with the black race. Yeah. That no matter the challenge, we learn to start telling our stories. And rounding up, I'm thinking, what kind of stories do you like to see from our entertainment, from our movies, our TV shows, sitcom? What kind of stories would you like to see?
I would like to be seeing more of historical movies in Nigeria. Yeah. Just like the 76.
76 was a good movie. Yeah.
That movie was so educative.
Yes.
So if our producers start producing such movies, it will help the young ones growing up and to know more about our history.
And this is so important, because history has been scrapped from school syllabus.
We talk about this almost every episode. I hope we need to continue saying it.
It's so important. So if they tell more of these stories, I mean, it's like,
I love that. I love about our history, stories about who we are as a people. I really like that. Yeah,
I would actually, advise, the producers and the writers, come up with more storylines that has to, deal with humanity and people just being nice to people. Yeah. I mean, there are people who are going through a lot of things in life, and watching a particular movie and seeing how, nice you can actually be to your fellow human being, and seeing the impact it has on that person, it will go a long way. I mean, there's nothing wrong with you seeing your sister or your brother. We don't always have to fight. We can always just try to promote peace. Yeah. I mean, I think I want to see movies like that, honestly.
Yes, especially because we're living in the world is becoming a bit more divisive. We are becoming less tolerant of people that are different from us. So we need to start seeing movies that also showcase that humanity and promote that.
I would like to see. So we had a conversation about Tyler Perry movies.
Yes,
I would like to see more movies, especially probably in Hollywood
and Nollywood, and movies.
They cast a lot of such stories where the women or the female lead is this angry black woman. I mean, I would like to see more stories where the female lead is at least a happy person.
Yeah, I think I love that idea. Let's move stereotypical stories, right? Because we're trying to promote a sense of equality. We need to tell stories that showcase that men and women are equal partners in development. Stories that do not say feminists are angry black women or angry women, but that feminists just want equality. Stories that say women, this is what women want, this is how women, this is what men want, and this is how we can live together. I think that, and you talked about black stories. I also don't want to start seeing, I don't like seeing movies that make it look like if you're from a particular social class and you're violent, you're a thief or this. They will say if you grew up in this region, then you must be struggling, you must be this. Let's stop those stereotypes.
Prone to violence.
Or if you're from this ethnic group, then you're a thief. If you're from this ethnic group, you're greedy or you cheat. Sometimes these things are the things that deepen the stereotype in the society. And for Hollywood, stop showing stories about blacks as if blacks are violent, drug addicts, always going to. I think that we need to go beyond that, because the black race is a race that is blessed, talented, and promotes tell the stories of the black people killing it in different spaces,
Yeah.
not those stereotypical roles, right? What's your
Yeah, so I agree with you people about these stereotypes. Like, I want to see stories that have less gender stereotypes in them.
less gender stereotypes?
So, like we're talking about This Is Us earlier, because on that show, like the dad, they portray him to be such a wonderful father. Like, I want to see more stories like that from African directors and producers. Like, tell stories about things that would teach people.
Yeah.
So it's not always like your father is all gone the whole day and then he'll come back only at night and you don't talk to him, or your mother is the only person that you can go to for emotional support. Like, let's diversify the stories.
I love that. Yes, diversify the stories. Why? Because we need to start showing stories about fatherhood. I think most times our stories are not fed to men, and I don't think we ever understand that. Stories about fatherhood, showcasing the importance of how the struggles of men and the stories of the men who are present and who are projecting what fatherhood ought to be. Let me talk about Jack. Some people used to say, what would Jack do in certain situations, right? Because it showed the struggles of a guy struggling to be a good father, a good husband, but managing that well. Those kind of stories promote, I think, stories about fatherhood, motherhood, to also show that men are emotional beings, that you can also rely on a man for emotional support, on your father for emotional support. Because most times the story just shows that if anything happens, it's mommy you go to, daddy just provides, and that's all. Men are not production material. They are not machines to just provide. They are emotional beings too, and I think we need to start telling those stories. And ladies,
gentleman,
the star boy in the house. It's been, oh God, I feel like this topic cannot end. We have to come back another day to talk about movies and a lot more we can learn from movies. But it's been an amazing conversation so far, and we're going to do a shout out to the guys behind the scene. We're not going to shout out to these two individuals because they're here with us today. So shout out to the guys behind the scene. Who is going first?
Yeah, shout out to Coca and Ifeanyi, our cinematographer, for doing amazing.
We appreciate you guys. Yes, who else?
Oh, I wanted to say shout out to Javier, and then I remembered he's right here today.
Yeah, we have a new director today.
Chidima.
Beautiful Chidima.
She's a lawyer and then she's also now a director.
Yes, thanks for today. We have our DJ
Drexx
with a double X.
Whoa,
X.
Yeah.
Triple X.
One day I will call his real name on this show. We have Austin also, and we have our creative design team, Samuel, Folorusho, and Stephen Momoh. I think honestly it's amazing. These guys behind the scene, they get us, they make this show what it is. And now to our real MVPs, right? MVPs. The audience and listeners, what do we say to them?
Thank you so much for always tuning in. We really appreciate it. Follow us on our YouTube. Make sure you're subscribed.
Like, comment as well.
Yeah.
Yes, we're also on Spotify and Apple Podcasts. Please subscribe.
We're also on Instagram. Follow us on Instagram and Twitter as well.
Facebook.
Final shot from you, Ayo. What do you say to our listeners and audience?
Yeah, make sure you share everything you see on our pages. If you like
And
it,
give
share it
us
to your
feedback.
friends.
Please, yes, and give us feedback
as well.
It's been an amazing conversation, and I know we focus a lot more on the Nigerian movie industry. The next conversation we'll have to talk a bit about movies within the continent, but we always cheers to Africa. And so before we end, you know how we say it: when you're on,
You're amplified.
And cheers to Africa. Thank you.
Yes.